Hey, what is going on, guys? XpertFusion here, and welcome to the Telltale The Walking Dead TV adaptation series. This is Season 2, Episode 10, which is titled Oak in the Water. So, this episode is going to focus on two different groups. So, specifically Clementine's group, as well as kind of the bigger leaders of Carver's camp. So, Carver, Lily, Troy, stuff like that. We're not going to be seeing Wyatt, Kenny, all the prisoners, all the 400 characters. We're not going to be seeing them this episode, just these two different groups of people. So the episode starts off in the next day. Of course, the last episode ended off with Carver returning back with the prisoners, and he brings them down into the cell, and then Kenny sees Molly there. Also, Clementine's group is just out on the road. They came across a kind of rave camps type of place, and they checked out the cabin that was in there, and they kind of stayed there for the night. So this episode starts off with Carver sitting in his office staring at the wall. Eerie music is kind of playing as he quickly gets up when Lily walks into the room. She asks him when they are headed back out to go look for the others, and Carver says today, like in an hour or something. Lily says she'll notify the others. Carver takes a cigar break outside as he sees someone running away from the compound from the factory. It's one of the prisoners named Georgie. So this guy got away, basically. Carver gets in his van quickly and walkies Troy to tell him he's got a quick little errand he's going to run, but he doesn't tell him specifically what it is. He heads off into the direction that he saw Georgie going into, onto the main roads with woods surrounding the area. Back at Clem's group, everyone packs up their things in the party cabin that they stayed at overnight, and all while they're doing this, the song Oak in the Water is playing. So if you guys know that song, it was in one of the Telltale credits for one of the Season 2 episodes. This song is playing as they're doing all this different stuff. And then the group head back out on the trail together after they, woke up and packed up their stuff from the cabin. Clem sees two walkers approach them. She kicks the legs of one of them and stabs the hammer in its head when it's on the ground as Luke uses a machete to kill the other one. They move on through the trail. Back with Carver, Carver continues driving down the road slowly while he looks through the nearby woods to see if he can find Georgie. He spots Georgie getting up from behind a tree and runs off. Carver gets out of his van and runs towards the direction he saw Georgie, and he can't use his van anymore because it's in the woods, obviously. He can't drive his van through the woods. He pulls out his revolver and keeps running as he calls out, "Georgie, Georgie, where are you?" Back at Clem's group, the group continued down the trail as kind of like just peaceful music's playing. The group get insanely tired from all the walking. They are exhausted. The trail eventually ends and just leads into the woods, so Luke says they just got to head through the woods from here, and they got to be careful, though. Back at Carver's camp, Lily sits in her room thinking. She has like a panic attack of some sort and goes outside to get some fresh air. Troy makes sure she's okay, and she says she's fine. She's clearly thinking about something, whether it be the fact that Kenny's here and that's kind of bringing back memories that she doesn't want to know or remember. That's kind of making her freak out a little bit. She's having panic attacks. Back with Carver, he continues to search for Georgie through the woods. He comes across a lake with a park and some bathrooms. He sees footsteps in the mud leading to the bathroom. Back at Clem's group, Pete and Clem are leading the pack of, the group while walking into the woods. Pete tells Clem about his hunting and how much he used to love spending weekends with his father hunting deer. They're just kind of having a nice conversation, just as they both fall into a pit of quicksand in front of them that comes out of nowhere. They don't see it right away because they weren't looking down at the floor. The group come running to see that they are definitely stuck in this quicksand. Luke goes to look for something they can use to pull them out as he sees a giant group of walkers, maybe 40 of them, headed their way. He is terrified as he quickly grabs a long tree branch and gives it to Carlos and Alvin to use to pull them out. Luke tells Nick to help him with the walkers as Rebecca uses Alvin's snub-nosed revolver to take a couple of the walkers out. Luke uses his machete and Nick uses an axe. Alvin successfully gets Clementine out of this quicksand, just as a walker jumps into the quicksand with Pete. Pete tries to hold the walker back as Clem shoots the walker in the face. Carlos protects Sarah, but she is suddenly attacked by a walker from behind. Carlos grabs the walker off of her and stomps the walker's head in. Clem sees a walker headed for Rebecca as Clem tackles the walker to the ground and uses her hammer to kill it. They all help Pete get out, and they do successfully, as Luke says they gotta go now. The walkers cut off Pete and Clem as they are forced to fight the walkers off with a tree branch as Clem uses her hammer. Pete gets cornered by a tree by a bunch of walkers. Nick runs to help, but the walkers are all in the way. Clem is forced to get back up as more walkers swarm Pete. The only thing protecting Pete right now is a tree branch that he is holding to hold him back. Pete is eventually overran and bitten on the shoulder, and then bitten on the stomach, and then bitten on the face, and he is just basically eaten alive. Nick is yelling and screaming as he goes, "Uncle Pete!" He tries to get him as Luke holds him back and says they gotta go now. He's done. You can't save him anymore. Clement catches up with them as they all run off. Back with Carver, Carver enters the bathroom and looks around slowly. He unveils all the shower curtains in this bathroom while looking around for Georgie. He sees the mud trail eventually die off as he then says, "Come on, Georgie, we all float down here." Obviously, if you guys have seen it, you know where that's from. That's the Pennywise sort of thing that he would say to Georgie. So you get the idea. It's a little Easter egg, and I thought it would be cool if, obviously, in this universe, I guess the It movies exist. So Carver was just mentioning the It movies. I thought it was funny. I don't know. Carver eventually hears a creak from behind one of the stalls as he decides to go up to the stall that he heard a creak from. Instead of opening up the stall, though, he takes his revolver and fires 3 shots through the stall door. And then someone falls off the toilet, Georgie, of course. Carver then grabs him out of there and tosses Georgie across the floor. The blood is just gushing out of his body from the gunshots. The 2 shots were in his hip. Back at Clem's group, they continue running through the woods as they stop at a little opening area. The group rests for a little as Nick is pissed off. He yells at Luke after Luke says he's sorry. Clem tells Nick to chill out as Nick gets all aggressive towards Clem and says that this is your fault. He says none of you even tried to help him. You just watched as he got eaten alive. He says you don't know what it's like to see the last member of your family die right in front of you. And Clem says, actually, I do. Luke tells Clem to just give him some time and just let him be. Rebecca thanks Clem for the help back there and that she basically saved her life. Clem smiles and says, you're welcome. The group move on as they see a river nearby and a bridge in the distance going over the river. Luke says they have to cross that bridge as he tells them all to come on. Back with Carver, Georgie tries to fight back against Carver, but Carver beats the ever-living shit out of him. Carver says he doesn't need him back home anymore, so he's just going to do what he should have done a long damn time ago. Carver holds up Georgie by his throat and chokes him. He then smashes his face into the wall multiple times until his head is completely crushed in and Georgie is completely dead. 3 walkers come into the bathroom as Carver takes all 3 of the walkers out with his bare hands. He then leaves. This kind of just shows how badass Carver is, and that's kind of the whole point of this scene for Carver, is just to show how ruthless, badass, and crazy this man is. Back with Clem's group, they reach the bridge as Luke says him and Clem will clear it out first and make sure it's safe for them to cross, as he notices a few walkers on the bridge. Luke tells Alvin to keep them protected with a sniper. Nick has a rifle, though. Luke tells Nick to give Alvin the sniper, but Nick says he'll do it. Luke asks if he's sure, but Nick says he's fine. Luke and Clem go up to the bridge. They see 2 walkers at first, a big one and one on the ground. Luke says he'll take the big one, but Clem goes up first and knocks out the legs of the big one and stabs it in the head with the back of the hammer. Luke says, okay, that works too, I guess, as he slices the machete through the one on the ground. They move on across the bridge as Luke asks her how she managed to be able to protect herself like this. And Clem says a lot of people taught her things. One of those people are still out there, and that's her friend Krista. Luke says he hopes they'll come across her. They come across a truck with some walkers around it on the bridge. They go up to it and take the walkers out as it seems easy at first, but Luke ends up falling through the floorboarding of the bridge and onto a small ledge beneath the bridge. He's safe, obviously, but this little ledge is very weak and he can fall off any minute now. It's a skinny ledge. Clem takes out 2 other walkers as she almost falls off the bridge and she ends up dropping her hammer off the side. She grabs a piece of rebar and stabs the last walker in the face. Clem helps Luke up as Nick yells at them to look out as Nick sees someone approaching them with a gun at the bridge. This man, his name is Matthew, says hello and asks if they are assholes and they're going to be a problem. Luke says no, they are cool for sure. Luke says he's got a lot of food in the shed across this bridge, so if they want to have some, they're welcome. Clem asks why he's being so nice and that there must be a catch or something, and Matthew says, no catch, I just kind of want the company right now. One last walker comes out of the truck door quickly and gets on top of Luke. But Nick can't see this because it's from behind the truck, so all he sees is Matthew aiming his rifle up at Luke. So Nick sees Clem in peril trying to help Luke, but Nick thinks that the man is aiming this gun at Luke and Clem. So that's what Nick sees. He doesn't see the walker, so he's freaking out. So what Nick decides to do is, well, shoot Matthew in the neck. He shoots Matthew in the neck just as Matthew shoots the walker off of Luke. So the walker's dead, but literally like almost the same time the gunshots go off and the bullet hits Matthew in the neck, and Matthew then falls off the side of the bridge as he's holding his throat and blood is just pouring out. Nick and the others come running to them across the bridge as Luke asks what the fuck he was thinking. Nick says he thought they were being robbed or something, and Luke says he's just saving his life from a walker. Luke says they're going to have to just deal with it then. He takes the rifle from Nick and gives it to Alvin. He says he needs to just calm down and just take some time. Nick's kind of pissed off, though. The group reach the man's shed on the other side of the bridge and check it out. He does have tons of canned peaches, beans, and granola bars. Clem finds a really nice knife with the initials M.O. scratched into it, presumably Matthew's initials. We don't know his last name, but his initials were carved into it. She puts the knife in her bag, not the unicorn bag as she had in the game. This is a completely new bag because we know that she left the unicorn bag in the story at the campsite when she was in the woods with Krista, so we know that one of Roman's girls had it, but they left it because they died. So basically, the unicorn bag is gone. Just know that. Back at Carver's camp, Carver returns to his office as Lily asks what the hell happened, where he went, and Carver just sits there, still all bloody, as he says they need to increase security on this damn place, and then he says he wants to head off in 30 minutes to look for his people. Lily leaves as Carver just sits there with an evil-looking face, and he just smiles sadistically while he's still staring at the same wall that he was staring at in the beginning of the episode. So boom, that is the end of the episode. Very interesting one, just a way to kind of develop in the story of where Clementine's group was going. We had to kill off Pete. The reason for killing off Pete is mainly to develop Nick's character, so I needed that to happen. I know a lot of people might have liked Pete, but it is what it is. You gotta kill off people every now and then to kind of increase the stakes and also kind of develop characters that need the development. And Nick is a character I want to develop, so his uncle dying like that right in front of him was a good way to do it. And then the whole Carver storyline this episode was there just to show Carver's brutality and the things he's willing to do to just, because he's a psychopath, man. He's crazy. He just bashed the dude's face into the wall. You know what I mean? He could have just shot him in the head easily, but he bashed his head into the wall. Next episode is not going to focus on Clem's group at all. Clem's group is going to be inexistent from next episode, unfortunately. But what that means is next episode is going to focus on literally everything else. We're going to see all sorts of stuff going on at Carver's camp, including with Carver, Lily, and seeing them obviously head out to go look for Clementine's group, which of course is just Rebecca's group in his mind. And then we're going to see the prisoners, what's going on in the prison life. We're going to see how the 400 Days crew is holding up. It's going to be a good episode. Very excited for the rest of the season, of course. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.